3, 2, 1.
My name is Lucas Burgoyne. I currently spend about 8 months of the year living in France, and then the other 4 here in Austin and/or bouncing around America racing. I'm 21 years old. I've been racing a bike 5 years, 6 years now. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. I'm a sprinter in cycling, so my off-season looks a lot different than a lot of people's. There is a lot of gym time thrown in, a lot of lifting, just to kind of work on that explosivity. But then yeah, there's still the same basics of I'm still doing anywhere from 20 to 30-hour weeks. With weightlifting, it could be over a 30-hour week. There's some days I could be on the bike for 6 hours and then in the gym for 2 and have an 8-hour training day. So the off-season's variable. That's what it kind of looks like for me, but it's different, yeah.
I think cycling is evolving as a sport. I think in America, it's always been a pretty big niche, maybe not super mainstream sport. However, if you look at cycling from a fitness component, it is very mainstream in America, right? There's people that look at a bike and they see a spin bike in a gym or a spin class or, some type of workout or a way to get fitter. However, in a competition or a participation standpoint, we're starting to see more of those people come from the exercise world and take on cycling.
It's pretty cool to see the community coming together in that way, and there's so much talent that comes out of here that in the past few years since COVID, it's been struggling. But it's been rebounding year by year by year, and I think 2023 is going to be huge.
We're also starting to see more bike shops. We're seeing more bike lanes made on the roads. Towns and cities are starting to build more things around cycling, which is really increasing the participation from that angle as well.
It's becoming more accessible to different ages and that sort of thing, and different skill sets and skill levels. So whether you're racing every week at the driveway, there's races out there with the pros and the Cat 1s, whether you're racing Cat 4, if you go out there, you're gonna have a good time and you can compete. You have Breakfast Club that happens every month. That's gonna be a huge ride that brings like 400, sometimes 500 people a month. And obviously at that volume, you're getting every single level out there. So for a lot of the people who are first getting a bike, highly recommend Breakfast Club. And then for those people that want to get into the more faster stuff, you have Driveway every week. We get to do Driveway 9 months out of the year, which is really cool, and it happens here in Austin, Texas. Mellow Johnny's is a part of that as far as going out there and supporting with, whether we're doing mechanic stuff or helping out with the races.
The off season is, from a cycling standpoint, is the most important part of the season. A lot of people don't necessarily put the 100% value in the off season because it's called off season, but really off season is where all the work happens for the coming season.
So I start the season with off season. It's what I'm in now. It's big hours, lots of time. It's the hardest part of every season because there's the most training and no racing, right? So there's not the super fun part of it yet. Then you roll into January, February, team camps kick off, racing kicks off, and that's where it really gets ramping. And then all of a sudden you're racing every weekend in a different country, doing this, bing, bang, boom, north, south, west, and that's where it's really fun. It can get tough, especially if you're not in a good way and you're not racing at your best, but as you rebound and you come back and you kind of settle in and you figure things out, that's when it can get really fun.
When I was a professional, racing, training for the Tour de France, like for me, the off season again was like that time of hope. So, I would sit there with my goals and I would meet with my team and, I would decide kind of like what my objectives and where I was going for that year. And when I would go out and train, like I would train with like laser focus on those goals. The thing that professional riders do really well is they don't question, the process. They don't really question like the journey. They don't really question like, is this worth me putting the effort in?
It can be mentally grueling, but those people who kind of are able to beat down that barrier and aspect, those are the ones who make it to that level and that European level and which is the gold standard right now and get to take a shot at that top spot.
So again, I'm gonna say like the off season is where it's done, right? That's where the magic's made. That's where the switch gets flipped. That's where just getting that little bit of edge, fitness wise, mental wise, commitment wise, they'll just push you over the top.
My mindset going into these things is always I go there to win, no matter even if I know there's a 0.0001% chance of me winning. I go there to win. Maybe it's not me, maybe it's my teammate, but that's always the goal in mind.
Last thing I'll say is like big thing that freed me is like, your timeline is your timeline. Like I didn't turn pro till I was like 24, Did I have the talent to turn pro when I was 18? Heck yeah, right? Like I said, I won everything. But then I had a complete meltdown, right? And so like I wasn't ready to turn pro at 18. I needed those extra 6 years of eating shit, right? To get ready to do that. And so, yeah, like biggest thing I would say is like, make it your timeline. Your timeline is your timeline. And if it takes you 15 years to get there, like get there and just like manage the anxiety, like take away the expectations, focus on what you want out of it. And just really embrace that, you're willing to do the work for as long as it takes.